Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. And I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and you are joining me on the edition where I record this the very exact day, which is referred to as February 6th, 2020. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad that you're here joining me. Yes, joining me live here. Live, because I record this live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes every Thursday evening. That's where it goes down. That's when it happens. It's when we get serious about talking about wrestling. Yeah, for sure. Like I'm the most serious wrestling talker guy out there. I get very, very grumpy about all sorts of things all the time, and I take things all too seriously. You know how that goes. But hey, nonetheless, bunch of people who join me live when I record this on YouTube, youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. I already told you about that. And we already have some fantastic people here this evening. We only have fantastic people here in the Mr. Warren Hayes Show live chat. It's a great place. If you've been on the fence of joining a live chat during a live wrestling podcast because maybe you've had a bad experience somewhere else, I can assure you that my chat is nothing but quality. Nothing but quality. We have some fantastic people again here tonight. We have Benoit, who's here. Hawkeye, who's here as well. How you doing? J.S. Brown, who's able to watch the show live tonight. Good to see you. Tony Wigan, you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name, dude, because I feel really weird. I hate mispronouncing names, unless it's for fun, and I don't want to do it for fun here. Thank you for being here, Tony. Carlos is here as well. Daniel Hayes just popped in. Robert Larry just arrived. And there's also a good friend of the show, Tim Trevor, who left a super chat before I actually got on air. That's nuts. Tim says, I'm eating a snack and having pop on this rainy night. I also want to say this. I know I'm going to get heat for this. Mr. Warren Hayes and my hair are awesome. You're not going to get heat for that. Are you saying my hair is awesome? You're not going to get heat for that. You can't get heat for speaking the truth. You get heat for lying like a two-timing liar, like a lying liar. But otherwise, no, this is absolute truth. So thank you all for joining us here. Throwback 27 is here as well. Chris Jacobs, RJ Krasinski just dropped in. How's everyone doing? This is fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for coming over. I really do appreciate it. And if you're watching right now and you're already in the mood, you're looking at me and you're like, God damn, this Warren Hayes guy, I like him. How could I show him that I like him? You can just give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. That's fantastic. If you're watching on demand on your own leisure, you can do that as well. It's the kind of thing that helps out the show a great deal. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available on all podcast platforms, well, give some love there. A review, a 5-star review, or a 4-star review, or a 3-star review. Anyway, it's up to you, right? I don't want to tell you what to do, but, the more positive, the better. A like, a heart, a subscription, whatever you can do there to show some love. That's fantastic as well. And like Tim did as well earlier on, if you want to show direct support right here live on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I'm not going to get into accents tonight. Do consider giving a super chat. You can do that, and I will read your question statement on stream as long as it's not offensive. I'll read it off live, and it's a great way to show support for the show. You can also show support by joining the Mr. Warren Hayes Patreon at patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. There's 2 tiers, a $2 tier that you just show support for everything I do. The weekly podcast, the post shows that I do, the prediction shows as well, all that good stuff. That's a great way to show support. And at the $5 tier, you still show support, but I give you back all sorts of extra goodies like Warren is Off the Clock, which is the Thursday night post stream for patrons only, where we just sit around and we talk about wrestling. And I say we am very, very interactive with the chat. If you were around last week, I gave it a free preview because we're getting towards the end of the month. Now the new month has started. Why don't you give it a try? You've got nothing to lose. $5 for the month, and you get more Warren Hayes. Who doesn't want that? You can ask my girlfriend if she wants more of that. You know what I mean? Oh, God, I hope she never hears this part. Oh. But yeah, hey, tonight on the post stream, we're going to be talking a bit about Killer Cross. I think it's big news. That's some cool things. And I also it's something that I talk about sometimes on the show, but I want to just dive into it and maybe get some thoughts from you guys as well. You know, which is a better alternative to WWE, NWA or AEW? Join me on the post chat. We're going to talk about that tonight. And I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if you've heard, but I have a t-shirt out, you guys. It's a fun t-shirt, you guys. That's right. I finally went ahead and made a t-shirt for my little Twitter catchphrase, my go-to line when it's time to rate matches. I don't give stars. I don't give points. I give adjectives. So I went and I made this is a fun match, you guys, a t-shirt. And if you want to pick one up, that's another fun thing. You get to support me, show a little love over you to your boy Warren, and at the same time you get a t-shirt. You get something to cover up your boobies or your man boobies. Whatever you want to cover up, you can use that t-shirt to do it. Maybe you have both. Okay, that's enough, Warren. Head on over to tinyurl.com/Warren shop and check it out. It's good. I really, it's a good t-shirt. Enjoy the t-shirt. It's a fun t-shirt, you guys. I will not be on Fightful for the post SmackDown show tomorrow evening. Exceptionally, I've got some personal things to attend to, but I'm not gone. Fightful's not getting rid of me that easily. I'll be back next Wednesday for the Wednesday Night War podcast and so on and so forth. You know what I'm actually thinking about doing this weekend? And I'm not sure exactly what I should. I'm entertaining the idea of doing a New Beginnings in Osaka post show, a recap. And I don't know if I'll be watching the show like live as it happens. Because I kind of want to catch up on some sleep this weekend. But maybe a little later in the morning kind of thing. Would you guys come and hang out on Sunday morning? It's on Sunday morning, right? It's on the 9th, right? Let me know. Aaron Jace fan, how you doing? Don't encourage me, please. Please don't encourage me. And you can get all your women's wrestling coverage at belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES. And by the way, yesterday was a really special day. It wasn't a really special day, but yesterday was National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And your girl Kristen Ashley wrote an article on where she talked with some female wrestlers about women and girls in sports, essentially how it is to break into the business as a woman, how it is to maintain your position in the business as a woman. It's a fantastic read. She talked to Brandy Rhodes, she talked to Jazz, Evilise, Holodead, and more. So you should check that out. It's over on belltobells.com. Do me a favor and go give it a read. It's a good read, and it's about some interesting and important subjects. And I'll give you some insight onto stuff that maybe you weren't expecting either. So it's good stuff. Alonzo Smith, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. And Nick Wolf as well. Well, why don't we go to it then? Let's just whoa, hang on a second. What's going on? Oh, there we go. I'm okay. Are you guys okay? Let's do this. It's doing this live. There we go. It's as if it's the first week I'm doing this. What a noob. It's the weekly wrestling inspection. Let's do this. And we are going to start this one off this week. You remember last week where I was like, it was all jolly cool beans and wonderful things, right? You remember that? Well, that's not how we're starting this week. We're starting off with some hot trash. And if you follow the Mr. Warren Hayes show, if you followed my body of work, you probably have a good idea what I'm starting off with. There was not a contract signing. So what else could it be? Oh, wait a minute. Friggin' dog food again. Why is SmackDown so hard to enjoy ever since they moved to Fox? Why is it so difficult for SmackDown to be a good show from top to bottom? Why are they giving us Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin again? This was the SmackDown following the Royal Rumble. To me, Roman and Baron had closure. Why did they have to extend it another week? Why did they have to extend it and then do the dog food stip? And as much as I was annoyed with the fact that they were going for another 6-man tag between all these dudes and that they were adding this stipulation, Michael Cole was insufferable. I could not handle the guy. I really couldn't. And I am not on the bandwagon of people who say Michael Cole is terrible from top to bottom. Michael Cole has grown so much into his role, and he is good at what he does. I'd like to see what you guys could do with Vince McMahon barking in your ear, because that's what he was doing. Michael, tell him there's dog food. Tell him the dog food smells. Tell him it's the worst smell. Because you could hear Vince McMahon saying the lines. That wasn't Michael Cole talking. That was his boss. This is the kind of stuff that Vince McMahon really likes. This is the kind of thing that McMahon thinks is funny. And it was just so incredibly, terribly annoying, added on top of a feud that we're done with. We're bored of it. We've been bored of it for weeks. The match at Royal Rumble was fine, and I was like, thank you, let's move on to something else. Poor Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the biggest babyface in WWE because all he has to do to be a babyface is put up with the shitty creative that they deal him with. It's terrible. It's awful, awful stuff. I feel so bad for Roman. I really do. And I'm done with this silly gimmick stuff on SmackDown. This was stupid. And yes, I know, Chad. I know it was chili. That's not the point. I don't care. It could have been chicken soup disguised as dog food. I don't know how they could have pulled that off, but you know what I mean. It could have been just about anything. The whole thing was just too much. And it was stupid and annoying. That's why we're starting off with hot trash. But now we're going to move on to some cool beans. So we're going to move on to Raw. We're going to talk about the return of Ruby Riott, which is really good. I'm glad she's back. I always get excited when a wrestler comes back from injury because I don't want wrestlers to not have long I don't want wrestlers to not have long injury-free careers, especially not someone like Ruby Riott, who I know is a good wrestler, someone they could depend on. She's been out for too long. I'm glad she's back. I'm glad they're putting her straight into a feud with Liv Morgan. It makes sense, and it's good for Liv Morgan. By God, get Liv Morgan away from Lana as quickly as possible. Liv needs to work with someone who knows how to work. Now, and I get the question a lot on Twitter. A lot of people ask me, do you think, Warren, do you think Liv Morgan is going to do well? How do you think she's going to fare? I don't know. Because we've essentially never really seen Liv Morgan do anything on her own. She was the jobber du jour in the Riot Squad. She was always getting squashed, and you can't base any of her skill set on matches with Lana. No disrespect to Lana, because I do understand that there requires a substantial amount of training even to do the slightest wrestling moves and take bumps. So kudos to Lana for doing that. But Liv is not going to grow as a performer by wrestling Lana. Put her with Ruby Riott, who is a seasoned veteran who knows what she's doing. I'm looking forward to this. they'll probably have some real good chemistry. I'm looking forward to these matches. I'm looking forward to these feuds. It'll be fresh. It'll be new. Let's make it happen. I'm all for new and fresh stuff. Let's keep going with some more cool beans. Let's talk about the 6-man elimination match. This, guys, gals, friends, chums, buddies, and pals. This was some good stuff. In fact, once Raw got past the first hour or so and all the recaps, it was a damn solid show. It was one of the more solid Raws from in recent memory. Such good stuff. But specifically here, the 6-man match I thought was great. The Viking Raiders get taken out during the match. Seth curb stomps Eric on the outside. Ivar gets taken out and has to be escorted back. It was a fantastic match that told the perfect story to get Seth and his disciples over. To get Seth and his disciples, well, over as heels, but also to firmly reinforce the fact that Kevin Owens is a babyface. And they're, basically doing the best with what they have, with Joe being injured and Joe being out. They're like, well, we have to try and do something. And they're capitalizing off of what happened last week. And they're telling the same type of story where KO has his allies, but they all end up being taken out. And he's left all by himself to fight off the odds. He has a great comeback sequence. He pins, not Bobby Lashley, Buddy Murphy, excuse me. He pins Buddy Murphy. He pins Akam, but it's Rezar who takes him out with a spine buster. It was good emotion. It was good work. The right team won here because I think despite the comeback, I think it would have looked a little fishy, would have looked a little dumb, would have made the heels look a little dumb to have Kevin Owens go over here. But Owens played the babyface role perfectly. My God, the audience was behind him. They were really into it. Imagine you telling me let's say 2018, you're telling me, hey, Kevin Owens as a babyface, it could work. I'd be like, but here we are in the year of our Lord, 2020. The year of our Lord here on God's green flat earth, and Kevin Owens is a convincing babyface that just works. But they're booking him so well. And Sean was pointing this out. Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful.com. Maybe you've heard of him. He pointed out on his on the Raw recap this Monday. He says, look at all the baby faces who are over on Raw. But he means over. Like Kevin Owens and Joe and Drew. They might not be the top guys. They're not holding the straps. They're not at the top of the hill per se. But you've got guys who systematically come out from behind the curtain, get huge pops. People are excited to see them. They're in compelling storylines. This is so good. It was great stuff. I'm telling you, the AOP angle on Raw, the Seth Rollins stuff with all the baby faces that they're sticking on, that are gravitating around it, it's just working out so good. I love it. Another thing that I really liked, another cool beans, I'm going to give it to Natalya versus Osaka, who had a strong match. And I mean, like, not only strong as in well done, well executed, but they were wailing into each other. My God. And did you guys notice? Did you hear Natalya like shouting out to Asuka, being like, "Yeah, oh, you want to shoot on me?" Like, I don't know how hard they were going at each other, but they were going hard, and it was good. And it's objectively speaking, this was a strong match. But then it's interesting when you look on Twitter then, and when I tweet out, "This is a good match, you guys." Yeah, people coming back is like, "No, Natalya's dragging this down." Natalya was not dragging anything down. Your colors are showing right here. You just don't like Natalya. You think she sucks. You adhere to this concept that she's a terrible worker. She got one of Becky Lynch's best matches in 2019 at SummerSlam. And people seem to forget that one, but it was real good. And look at her here last Monday with Osaka. That was real good as well. Yeah, this was a strong match. I really liked it. They did a good job. And of course, Becky's challenging Osaka next week on TV. I think it's a good move. Good stuff. How you doing, Connor McCabe? Welcome to the chat. Next, we're keeping the cool beans running here. I'm in a cool bean kind of mood. Charlotte Flair shows up on NXT, right? Because she had promised that, because Rhea Ripley showed up on Raw, right? And I just want to point out, I said that Rhea would come to challenge Charlotte and say, hey, you know what? You may have beaten everyone for these titles, but you haven't beaten me for this title, kind of thing. I sort of called that last week. So I just want to shout out to WWE Creative. Watch me clearly, religiously every week. I want to just give you a shout out. Shane Helms, whoever's involved. I don't know. No, Patrick Mason, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. So Charlotte shows up in NXT as promised, but she shows up during Bianca Belair's promo, and I lost it. I thought this was fantastic. I was focused on AEW for the Wednesday Night Wars podcast, but I always have NXT open right now. And I just lowered commentary and put the volume up here because I wanted to hear what was going on. And Bianca Belair showed so much personality in that promo right there. Rhea comes out, and Charlotte sort of wants to push Bianca aside, and Bianca, she's just losing it. I love this. She did not want it to be treated as an afterthought. And this was a problem that I was ready to talk about here tonight, saying, why would you have Rhea Ripley show up on Raw this week to challenge Charlotte Flair when Portland hasn't even been settled yet? That kind of telegraphs the ending, right? But now, with Charlotte coming onto NXT and having this triple dynamic, this triangle, now the cards are a little fuzzier. Now it's a little more interesting. Now you're sort of wondering, okay, what's going to happen next? Now we have a couple of possibilities that are opening, and they are continuing to treat Bianca Belair like a big deal. She was a big deal at the Royal Rumble, and I like this continuity, that they're not just like, oh, she had her moment, and now we're just going to have her do something else. No, now she's involved in a main event NXT angle with bloody Charlotte Flair. This is a big deal, you guys, but it really is a big deal. I think it's amazing, actually. She was so good. She showed so much personality, and again here's the thing. And I'm going over my time that I had allotted for this, but I think it's important to underscore. I talked about it on SmackDown last week. Look at how this is the kind of stuff, like I like to tell Sean sometimes, it's the kind of stuff that when we talk about, we get slapped, we get labeled as SJWs. But hear me out here. Diversity in wrestling is important. And diversity in wrestling is a real thing if you want to reach out to audiences. When Naomi made her return at the Royal Rumble, Twitter exploded, and an entire segment of Twitter exploded of people of color going completely bananas seeing her return. I saw so many tweets of people seeing Naomi return with the hair and the colors, being like, I don't even watch wrestling, but I love this woman. Who is she? And they have the same type of situation with Bianca Belair. This is not pandering, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a question of, oh, we have to reach out to the minorities. That's not what it's about. If you want to grow your audience, like WWE wants to do, and we're going to talk about it a little later because they're struggling a bit, but if you want to reach out, get get some more people, more eyeballs on the product, you have to give some form of representation. Because honestly, I don't know why, if you see someone who looks like you, acts like you, talks like you, that you can relate to, you are more compelled to watch that person do whatever they're doing. And it's not even a racial thing. It's just basic human behavior. You're attracted, compelled to gravitate towards things that remind you of yourself or your experience or what, and it's unconscious. But that's what it is. And I don't want to say that I'm smarter than anyone else here, that I'm like, oh, see, I see these things popping up. I just stay attentive to other people's reactions. Try to understand why others react in certain ways that they do. And when you see the types of reactions that Bianca and Naomi get from a whole subset of fans who are disenfranchised because the product doesn't speak to them, when you see the reactions they get, you're like, well, of course, why wouldn't you push these women? Why wouldn't you give them a platform? If anything, WWE will just make more money. And then in the meantime, you'll be, you will be spearheading some change at the same time. But you'll be making cash. It's a win-win kind of situation. So I'm excited about this stuff. It makes me happy to see people get excited about wrestling. It does. Why wouldn't I be excited as a wrestling fan to see other people get excited about something I love? There's room for everyone. There's absolutely room for everyone. I really went over here. But at least it's sincere and it's true. And you know I feel this way because I started getting all ranty. More cool beans. I'm gonna look, I won't feel so bad just glossing over it, but Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay on NWA Power this week delivered another fantastic match, another match that stole the show. They had a great 18-minute match at Hard Times a couple of weeks ago. They had a rematch for the title this week, and it was shorter. And in the amount of time that they had, this match went above expectations. It was really, really good. And even though it was a rematch, it served to forward a new angle. Like, it wasn't just a throwaway, let's do the rematch on live TV like they did with fucking Sheamus and Chad Gable for no reason. Let's just do the rematch and that's that. No, this actually furthered another angle. And my God, they work well together. They're so good together. I'd watch Allison Kay and Thunder Rosa wrestle all the time. It was really, really good. I thought, overall, their match on Hard Times was better, but they had more time to tell a bigger story. But I thought their action on Power was a little crisper. I thought it wasn't. There were a few rougher spots at the Hard Times match, and here everything was a lot cleaner. But look, again, being nitpicky, but it was really, really good. I loved it. I really, really loved it. Yuka Sakazaki versus Britt Baker on AEW Dynamite was probably one of the better women's matches that AEW's put on so far. And I think I've pinpointed it to two reasons here. The first reason, Yuka Sakazaki's fantastic. The second thing is, I think Britt Baker's offense as a heel, I think it suits her much better in the ring. I think she's growing into it. I mean, hell, she can probably get some pretty good heel tips at home, right? You know what I'm saying? Just rolls around and, at 2:00 in the morning, elbows at him and is like, hey, so how do you think I should deliver my promo? Do you think it kind of thing? And I think the character work is one thing, and I mean, Kazaki, you lose a tooth. I love the angle. I thought it was great. But I also think that since she'll be working a heel style, it will help mask her weaknesses. That, because when you play the babyface, you have to have a little more explosive offense. You need a little something extra when it's time to do that big babyface comeback. Whereas when you're the heel, it's much more strength based, much more ground based. I think she can get away with a lot more stuff that way. It'll mask some of her shortcomings in the ring, which I don't think is a bad idea. And she'll be able to work on her character work and get across a lot better. It's a good thing. I like it. And it was a good match as well. But now it's time to give out some hot trash here. Why the hell is Orange Cassidy not being booked in matches on AEW Dynamite on a weekly basis? I'm not a promoter. I don't promote wrestling for a living. However, if I were, and every week, if I ran a weekly show, and at every weekly show I have this one guy come out who gets one of the biggest reactions of my entire roster outside of my main event guys, I am putting that guy in matches. I am getting the people behind him. I don't understand why they're sitting on him. And this is one of the mysteries of AEW, how they have these fantastic people that they don't use. And I put this out on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen this happen, where you've seen me tweet this out and people replying back and saying it'll destroy his mystique. Orange Cassidy's mystique is not just to hang around and do nothing. His mystique is to be this sloth, this slovenly bum, until it's time to turn it up, where then he suddenly becomes a real good wrestler. And there are tons of Orange Cassidy matches from the indies out there on YouTube that you can watch. Check out his match against Kylie Ray. By God, you will not be disappointed. What? It won't kill his mystique. It will bring the gimmick full circle, because it's once Orange Cassidy starts getting heated that his character truly becomes interesting. I think that if they just have him hang around, do the thumb thing, and then do the kicks every week, and that's it. I think if they keep doing that week after week, that's when people are going to get bored with him and be like, well, that's all he ever does. There's nothing really to it. I don't know why they're not putting him in matches. I don't know why. It bothers me. It really, really bothers me. Okay. I was going to talk about the 8-man tag. The 8-man tag was fantastic because of, mostly because of the Adam Page angle. But the Adam Page stuff is so good. And I'm going to get into it just slightly. I'm going to flash the cool beans here because it's cool beans. I'm just going to talk about it a bit. I'm just going to leave it at this. Adam Page is super over right now. You cannot turn him heel. You just can't. If that was their end game, hopefully they're paying attention to the audience reactions, because there is no way that an audience is going to buy Adam Page as a heel. AEW should do the right thing and turn the Bucks. The Bucks, when they were on the independent circuit, mostly worked as heels, and it works because they can be a couple of very, very petulant, arrogant assholes, and it'll work. Do the right thing, turn the Bucks, keep Adam Page hot. But now we're going to talk about the lashes. We're going to talk about the lashes. It's what can I add that hasn't already been done about the MJF Cody Rhodes strap moment? I thought that they were going to gimmick their way out of this. I really did. I thought that they were going to sort of start it off, tease it, and then pull it away kind of thing. But no, they went through with it. And my God, Cody's back looked gross. Gross. And when MJF hit for the third time, it was so loud. The spank was so sharp. I got goosebumps. But then Wardlow, the first thing he's ever done in AEW, really, his strap hit to your boy Cody was ridiculously harsh. And my God, I have to give all the props to Cody for doing this. That was amazing. And it was the best definition I can give without going into extreme hyperbole is that this was the most pro wrestling angle I have seen in a long time, and it's for all the right reasons. It was for all the right reasons. It was just brutal, good storytelling. Old school, physical, no frills. It was fantastic. And AEW has this capacity, right, to create these moments, these things that are that just stick with you, right? But I keep saying it, Cody Rhodes is a master storyteller when it comes to everything that has to do, especially with his in-ring work, but look at him go here. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he has to do to get this angle over. I think it's remarkable what they're doing. This is one of these moments that's definitive. That'll just stick with people. That will be when in 10 years from now, when we're all going to be on our Patreons talking about the first year of AEW, this is all something that we're all going to be talking about. We're all going to go back and be like, yep. I remember that. That was fantastic. For sure. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Can I be nitpicky for a second? Would you allow me the possibility to be a little nitpicky? Just a little nitpicky. And it's a nitpick in the way that does nothing to reduce my appreciation of the moment. But I thought the thing was a tad overbooked. Just a little bit. Like a lot of Cody things have a tendency to be. I would not have had the faces, the baby faces come to ringside. I would not have had Arn come or the Bucks or Dustin. You had the heels up top, at the top of the ramp looking down. What if the heels could have tried to come out and check on him? The faces could have tried to come out and check on him, but maybe the heels should have kept them up there. Say, no, man, you're staying up here. Have some security. Like MJF, going through, pulling out all the stops to make sure that this doesn't happen, that he doesn't get interrupted. Just fix up something that would prevent the baby faces from coming down. And Cody just alone, completely alone with these two maniacs in the ring, just getting the tar beat out of him. And then Brandy comes out. And Brandy, she gets the security or whoever they have there, prevents her from going forward. But then she starts to plead with them. She tells him, I'm his wife. You are going to let me go and check on him. I fear for him. I'm his. And she could cry a little bit, let a tear or two shed. And then she goes to the ring. And then she does the hand spot. It would have just put that moment over so crazy good. It would have been so good. Like I said, I loved how the angle was handled. I think Cody being isolated, really, really alone, would have pushed everything over. But hey, I'm not sitting here saying this is sucked. It should have been done this way. No. It was well executed. I just think I could have done better. Look at that. I'm a wrestling fan on the internet, and that was the weekly wrestling inspection. We'll cut the music too quickly. Hey, I hope you enjoyed all of that. Thank you all for sticking around. I feel like I'm saying a lot of garbage tonight. More so than usual is what I'm trying to get at. Remember, folks, to come and join us, or me, after the stream over on Patreon, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes for the Warren is Off the Clock post-stream show. We're going to be talking about Killer Cross for a bit and talking about AEW, NWA, which is the true WWE alternative. It'll be a fun time. Should be good. It will be good. Not only should it be good, it will be good. And if you feel like dropping a super chat right here and now with a statement, a question, or a comment, I will read it. I will. And get my t-shirt. tinyurl.com/Warren Shop. Okay. Hey, you know what happened today? The WWE had its conference call, and it was a big one. I don't like to talk about numbers all that much here, as you guys know. You know, I think if only because the business aspects of these conference calls are broken down by much more competent individuals, such as Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics Radio, who does an amazing job every time just breaking down the entire wrestling business, and especially on the WWE side, he just breaks it all down. As for me, I sit back, I sort of assimilate everything that happens, and I try to formulate some opinions. Omar Playa, thank you very much for joining us in the chat. How you doing? So this was a big one. We knew it was a big one because, we all saw that WWE stock completely plummeted when it was announced that George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, the co-presidents of WWE, were ousted or kicked out. Sayonara, hit the bricks. And we saw the stock go. So a lot of people were really, really looking forward to today to try and get some kind of insight on what's going on in the company. And we had the call today with, of course, Chairman, CEO Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and interim CFO Frank A. Riddick. A couple of highlights here, not necessarily a bunch of stuff that I want to get into, but there are a couple of talking points. WWE was touting that they had a record quarter in revenue which went up to $322 million. That's a lot of money for a quarter, but they touted it as a record. But at the same time, everything is down. Live attendance is down. Merch is down. Subscriptions to the WWE Network is down. They also talked about their TV deals that they're supposed to get in India, that were supposed to be done in India and in the Middle East. They were saying that there's regulatory television changes in India that are making it really, really complicated. And as far as getting on Saudi television, he says that there are intricacies involved that cause delays. That is the That is the most suspicious, unsuspicious word that you could use. You know, it's one of these words where you're like, I'll just say intricacies and no one will be, it doesn't mean anything. No one will be really suspicious. But no, I think there's an effort to use the word intricacy here. So that was one of the investors were talking a lot about the TV. They were talking a lot about the XFL, by the way, starting this weekend, Saturday. Chat, let me know which of the XFL teams you're rooting for. Do you have a local team? Well, put that out in the chat here. Let me know. Let me know if you guys got a local team, a local XFL team, and if you're supporting them. And also, if the Renegades should or should not come out with jetpacks, because if the Renegades do not come out with jetpacks, that is a missed opportunity. So they talked about the XFL, and man, did they hammer this home. The XFL is a completely different company from WWE. Both Riddick and McMahon, they were saying the exact same words. It is a total different company. Those are the words that they were both using. A total different company. There's 400 people employed there, and it's a total different company. The WWE is not going to bleed in here. And he was asked, Vince, how are you going to be able to handle WWE and XFL at the same time? He says, I have broad shoulders. Man, there were so many Vinceisms in this one. It was hilarious. It really, really was funny. There's here's the thing about the stock plunge, in and about itself. Maybe the stock plunge. Hey, there you go. Tim Traver left another super chat. Thank you, Tim. And he says that he's part of the $5 tier on Patreon now. Tim, good. We'll be looking forward to seeing you there. In regards to the future of the WWE Network, or at least, sorry, let me go back a little bit. I'm jumping through my notes a little too fast here. There's a lot of people, and especially Brandon was pointing this out. Brandon Thurston, you should follow this guy on Twitter, especially at this when it's time to talk economics of wrestling. He's fantastic. He was pointing this out, and it kind of makes sense. The investors were very, very nervous about the television deals not happening. They were very, very nervous about the XFL, which is starting this week. And the TV deal should have been done by now, by the way. So we're in. So maybe the stock plunge has a little more to do with these insecurities rather than Barrios and Wilson leaving WWE. Maybe it has a little more to do with certain deals which were supposed to help certain areas of growth, but are not going forward, kind of thing. And then the XFL, which apparently is still very unclear in the minds of many investors, that XFL and WWE are two completely different things. There was a bit of a miscommunication here. Let's put it that way. In regards to the future of the WWE Network, though, and this is the thing that I want to talk about, because this is what I find is very, very interesting. He says that there are many options open for the WWE Network, including a free tier and potentially selling content rights to other streaming platforms. McMahon adds that there's a possibility for the WWE Network ads are a possibility for the WWE Network. And he also said that he'd be ready to set up an OTT deal with major players in the field of streaming. So sending some of the content that we see on the network to other people, other streaming services. By the way, off topic, did you guys see that MLW is rumored to be in talks with Amazon to be put on Amazon Prime? Did you hear about that? That would be fantastic. I'd love to be able to watch MLW on Prime. That would be so good. And And here's the thing. Here's something that's really, really interesting. What's the name of the union of writers in the United States? SAG, Screen Actors, Screenwriters, Actor, Screen. Is it? I don't remember. I apologize. But the union, basically that represents screenwriters in North America, in the United States anyway, is threatening to go on strike. So if they start to go on strike, my God, what are these content streaming services going to do if all these people fall off the face of the earth and there's no TV being written, produced? Well, then you get non-unionized work like MLW onto your platform. That'd be fantastic. Anyway, but that's an aside here. I don't want to. Screen Actors Guild, thank you. Or the Writers Guild of America. Thank you very much, Chad. I appreciate it. So that was an aside about MLW. Would still be cool, but okay, let's get back to WWE. Barrios. So here's the thing. So essentially, and I tweeted out maybe a little in a very reactionary fashion. You know, maybe didn't quite take a breath before tweeting, Warren. You didn't take your own advice that you give other people. And I said, oh, okay, they're looking to basically end the WWE Network because if they start putting content elsewhere, why would we stay subscribed to the WWE Network? There's no reason. But then, you know, it sort of get to thinking, because at the same time, Barrios and Wilson were the architects of the WWE Network, and now they're gone. But that was their project. That was their thing. They built the pardon my language, the award-winning WWE Network. So right now, you know, there's a lot of things that are going around. They're talking about maybe moving premium content from the network to other venues, other streaming services. What would premium content be? D-Generation MC, good to see you. The pay-per-views, right? I mean, that's the premium content. That's the stuff that people would probably still pay extra to see. They've been given away on the WWE Network. Well, if you move the big shows to pay-per-view and have them legitimately return to being a pay-per-view, well, maybe there'd be more revenue to happen there. And you know, already there's a lot of people who are making comparisons with the UFC Fight Pass. You know, the UFC basically has secondary content, you know, non-UFC stuff, like kickboxing and non-UFC promotions that they just buy the rights up of stuff and broadcast it there. Whereas the main pay-per-views, the big shows, are all on pay-per-view on ESPN Plus. So it's interesting to think how that could exist, you know? And I mean, this is you know, Vince McMahon takes a look a lot at what he keeps an eye on what Dana White is doing. And if Dana White was able to get this kind of deal with ESPN and have his pay-per-views be having his pay-per-views be aired on ESPN while having his own little streaming network on the side, you know Vince wants a part of that. And he'll probably get a better deal because overall there are more people on a weekly basis that watch wrestling. There's a bigger audience for pro wrestling than there is MMA. I am 90% sure of that. Just going to give myself a little 10% margin of error. But I'm pretty sure that if Vince were to walk in and say, look, I got all my hardcores, we'll be ready to pay out the ass for WrestleMania this year because I'm not putting it on the network, pretty sure he'd be able to get a pretty neat deal after that. But again, like I'm saying, once you take the pay-per-views away, what's left on the network? NXT's already gone. Got 205 Live and NXT UK, no disrespect. And maybe this is why we haven't seen much original content being produced other than the chronicles and documentaries, which were clearly already being produced and filmed way before these decisions. They're not decisions yet, but or at least these talks have been set up. Vince has said that, you know, he might even have a deal with a major with a major OTT by the end of Q1. He said we're up to 2020. It seems like everything's going really swimmingly. So what's left with the network after? But here's the thing, and would the $10, $11, $12, depending on where you are in the world, would it be sufficient? Would it be okay for you to pay for that for strictly nostalgia, for exclusively having access to the WWE back catalog and all the other stuff that they purchased over the years? WCW, Mid-South, NWA, the old NWA stuff. Would that be okay? Is it valued at that? Do you feel that there's value into that? Would you pay for the network and then on top of that pay for pay-per-views? Because there has been a resurgence in pay-per-view purchases because of the new like stream services like Fight. We're making it very, very easy for people to get pay-per-view access to stuff. But is that something you want? You know, is that something that you'd feel compelled to still hang on to the network for all the old stuff, excuse me. And then you put yourself in the perspective of WWE here, you know, like I said when we started talking about this, WWE has WWE live attendance is down, merchandising is down, and the network is down. So there's no growth on the network. It's going down. And when you look at the numbers, or at least when I've been told about the numbers, but again, Brandon Thurston pointed out that WWE is a company that lives off its core content, off its licensing. That's why it was able to nail such a big deal with Fox. It's because of its core content, because of its media presence. If your licensing and your core content is on the WWE Network, which is not seeing growth, what do you do then? What do you do with the content that you're putting on there? Why would you keep delivering it into a service that is not meeting expectations, subscriber targets? We don't know exactly how much money it's pulling in. But there's operational costs to running a live show. It's an interesting question to ask on that front. Maybe this is just smart business for WWE. Will it kill off the network? I don't know. I think it might be a little more nuanced than that. Maybe they don't have to do away with all the pay-per-views. Maybe you keep your big four shows, WrestleMania, the Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. You keep them off the network. You put them on true pay-per-view. But you keep your B shows all on the network. Again, would that be enough for you to stick around? It's funny how none of these economics ever touch on stuff like creative, building stars, having compelling, marketable stars. It's an odd thing. And I'm gonna close it up with this, but it's interesting to think that the network might be in peril, or to make sure that WWE stays sustainable, they're going to move stuff off of the network and go put it elsewhere. And there is an argument to be made that maybe people aren't subscribing to the WWE Network because creatively the product is a little bankrupt right now. But it sucks that they're going to break up the network and have the consumer end up footing the bill of a product that isn't as compelling because the creative is bad. It's going to be the consumer who's going to end up paying on one hand for the network and then having to pay extra, let's say, for pay-per-views. Whichever way you look at this, the way that WWE is talking about it, you and I as fans, as loyal fans, are going to end up footing the bill because WWE is unable to create the compelling, creative stories and the believable, entertaining, relatable stars that would keep us watching every week and also create new audiences at the same time. That kind of stinks. This is, me staring into the future. WWE hasn't said that they're pulling it apart, but it kind of sucks. All right, guys and gals, we're going to wrap this up talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. First big show of the year. The new beginning in Osaka this weekend. I'm excited about it. I forgot to check in the chat earlier. I asked the question, would you guys and gals like to come? Would you like me to do a post show for New Japan, maybe Sunday morning, but not like early? Maybe a little, 11 a.m. kind of thing. Would that be fun? Would you come over? Would you come join me? That'd be fun. Zeus King, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Didn't see you there. Sorry if I missed you earlier. Anyway, I'm going to give a few predictions here for the new beginning in Osaka. It should be a fun card. Opening the evening, we have Tenkozi, Yuji Nagata, and Nakanishi versus Taguchi Japan. Hanma, Makabe, Toa Hanare, and Taguchi in an 8-man tag match. I don't care. Hey, you know what? Let's have the old guys win. What old guys, Warren? It's all nothing but old guys there. Tenkozi, Nagata, and Nakanishi. Let's do that. Roppongi 3K are going to be defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship against the Suzuki-gun team of Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. I don't care. And it's not... I love Roppongi 3K. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what is the tag division in New Japan? Regardless, what is it? What is the tag division? They did the change for Finjuice, right? At Wrestle Kingdom, and we're like, oh, they're trying something out, adding some new tag teams. But no, they just have the Guerrillas of Destiny win the titles back. There's no reason to be interested in the tag team division in New Japan because it's always Guerrillas of Destiny for the heavyweight tag and Sho and Yo for the junior heavyweights. That's it. That's it. And I love everyone involved in the match, especially Sho and Yo. My God, though. Honestly, if at least they did away with the weight classes and just merged the junior and the heavyweight belts, that would at least there you'd have some wiggle room to have all sorts of some mix and matches, but so I don't care. Kota Ibushi and Taguchi Japan, made up of what? No, hang on a second. Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Dave Finlay, and Juice Robinson. What am I talking about? Versus the Bullet Club team of Chase Owens, Yujiro, the Tokyo Bam, Takahashi, Tongaloa, and Tama Tonga in an 8-man tag team match. Oh, the faces are going to win here. Again, it doesn't really matter. This is one of these matches that's going to set up angles, though. They're going to set up some angles here, I'm pretty sure. There's going to be something that's going to happen here, but the match in and about itself is... Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay are going to take on Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. This should be fun. They're pairing Okada with Taichi these days, and Taichi's bringing it, so this should be fun. Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr., well, that just always works, doesn't it? Doesn't it, governor? See, they're British, so I'm doing... Hey, you got Will Ospreay, and you got your boy Zack Sabre Jr. No, my accent is going like this. You know what? This should be a fun match. I'm looking forward to it, and I think they're going to add more fuel to the fire for both these feuds. I think the heels are going to win here. I expect Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. to win because there's singles matches coming up for all four of these guys. Jay White versus Sonata in a singles match. Ooh. I'm a big believer in Sonata. I love the guy. I think he's going to turn into my Naito, where I'm going to say, this is Sonata's year. And I'm going to say that every year. This is Sonata's year. I said that last year. And arguably, it was his year. Fought Kazuchika Okada 4 times, beat him once. That's non-negligible. That's a big deal. It'll be interesting to see how he works with White, who is the purest heel in all of wrestling today. His character, his attitude, but also his ring style as well. I'm very, very excited to see how this match is going to go, and it's really hard to call. This is the kind of match where you don't know what Gato has in mind, but once the trigger's pulled, you're like, oh, I see what he wants to do. Because he could it's either part of Jay White redeeming himself for what happened at Wrestle Kingdom, losing the title match, and then just going back to making sure that everyone understands that he's the top guy. Or it could be one where you just start repushing Sonata, getting him back into a top tier condition where he could challenge Naito for the double belts, or one of the belts at the very least. I think it's interesting to see where they're going to go with this. I think Sonata is going to win because Jay White, as we saw in the G1 last year, all they need to do with Jay White is give him 2 or 3 matches and he is suddenly back to being on top of the world, an absolute bastard. It doesn't take much to put Jay White back into a credible heel position. I don't think he'll lose anything here by losing this match to Sonata. I think Sonata has more to gain. Oh, in chat, let me know who you think is going to win. Like Zeus King here thinks that Jay White is going to win. Robert Larry has an interesting question here. I'm just going to read it. Fantasy Booking Gang, who will win between Jay White versus MJF? MJF is not going to win against Jay White because we stand Jay White here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Here we go. Champion Hiromu Takahashi takes on the man who almost ended his career, the son of a bitch, Ryu Lee. Here we go. This is what we were expecting. This is going to be the penultimate junior heavyweight feud for New Japan moving forward. These two guys know each other really, really well. This is going to be nothing short than amazing. Nothing short than amazing. I'm completely sold on Hiromu Takahashi, if you didn't know by now. I got chills when he came back. This will be good. This is going to be a fantastic match, and I think Takahashi's going to retain. He's going to retain that bad boy for a little while. Easily for a while. I don't see him losing it before Best of Super Juniors at all. Give him a nice long reign. Probably the match everyone is most excited about this weekend. The IWGP United States Championship. Champion Jon Moxley defending against Minoru Suzuki. I mean, we all went crazy at Wrestle Kingdom when Suzuki came out to get into Moxley's business, right? And then they've been teasing it. I mean, this is the match we all want to see this weekend. And it has to deliver on the crazy, right? It has to. These are two guys who aren't afraid to beat each other up senseless. Just go ahead and do it. Will Jon Moxley lose? I don't think Moxley should lose before heading into Revolution. I really don't. Or maybe he will. God, I hate New Japan booking because there's so many possibilities every time. Look. If Jon Moxley loses the U.S. title this weekend, does that telegraph the ending to Revolution? Does that mean that he picks up the World Heavyweight Championship from Chris Jericho? I'm asking you. Sometimes I feel like I think too much with my booking. Because then on the other hand, Minoru Suzuki loves working American dates. He loves coming over to the United States. Charlie Wolf, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. He loves to come to the United States. He loves to come challenge people around here. I think he would make a good United States champion because he legitimately likes coming here. He did matches with the Pro Wrestling Revolver in Chicago late last year, I want to say. It'd work. It wouldn't be strange. The American crowds would get excited about that. I think it would be a good bet. It would be a good bet to put the title on Suzuki, but I don't know if they're going to have Moxley lose before going into Revolution. I don't know. We'll see. And to cap it all off, Naito 2 belts. Tetsuya Naito, IWGP Heavyweight Champion and IWGP Intercontinental Champion, defending his titles or title. What's he putting up on the line? I'm not sure about that. The new beginning in Osaka. Let's take a look at this. Unless maybe by the time I figure it out, y'all in chat are going to be like, what is this? I don't think you guys talk like that for real. And I appreciate the help. Don't worry. It's a singles match for both belts. For the Heavyweight Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. And Naito's not losing. I mean, or would he? Like, that would be just the perfect Gato thing to do. Gato's screwed with him so much over the past few years, making us feel that he's going to win. And then all of a sudden, nope, he's relegated to just doing nonsense again. No, he can't lose, can he? Conrad, how you doing? Like, that's the thing. Why would he lose his big first defense after Wrestle Kingdom? Why? Why would they have him do that? But then again, I'm like, they could have him do that. You know? And he could put the belts on Kenta. He'd be credible as a champion as well. I don't think they're doing it, though. Or would they? My God. Okay, I'm predicting Naito retains. but I wouldn't be surprised if he lost. Let's put it that way. Jeez. Oh, boy. Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to the show. Stay tuned to Twitter to see what I do on Sunday morning. I'll probably work something. I'll probably do it. I'm talking about it. I'll probably do a post show on Sunday morning. Maybe late Sunday morning. Wake up. Get myself a nice cup of coffee. Maybe make some waffles from scratch. Have a nice waffle iron. Fry up some bacon on the side. Maple syrup on that. Sit down, fire up New Japan World and watch it. I could do that. And then pop up on stream later. Be like, hey guys, let's talk about Osaka. Yeah, I could do that. Well, we'll see. Stay tuned to Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already at MrWarrenHayes, but I'm pretty sure at this stage of the game you do. If you don't, well, there's a good opportunity to go do it right now. Another good opportunity is to come join me on Patreon in just a few minutes. I'm going to be jumping on there for the post stream. We're going to be talking about Killer Cross for a bit. We're going to be talking about mostly alternatives to WWE. Is AEW the best alternative? Is NWA the best alternative? Is there a best alternative? Haha, let's go talk about it. Come join me for Warren is Off the Clock. Numero ocho I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know any Spanish. 18. Oh, no French, though. Warren is Off the Clock. 18. There you go. So that's it. So do consider becoming a patron and come join me on the post stream. Should be a lot of fun. It will be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun, especially with you guys around. I want to thank you, everyone who joined me live. I want to thank everyone who listened to this show on demand or on your podcast application. If you are watching this on YouTube, do consider giving the video a thumbs up. And I will be back next, maybe this weekend. Yeah, I'll be here this weekend. Let's just consider I'm doing it, all right? Between us, I'm doing a post show this Sunday for the New Beginnings in Osaka. The New Beginning in Osaka. But there might be multiple beginnings at the same time for the New Japan show Saturday morning. Come check me out. Otherwise, in the meantime, thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time.